Hello, Capricorn. This is your reading for the week of January 25th, or when you hear it and it resonates. So, of course, as with all of these readings for the collective, they won't be for everyone. Capricorn, what I'm getting for you, the first thing that I heard was, I'm doing a 3-card spread. The first thing that I heard, however, as I was shuffling the cards was, rain, rain, go away, come again some other day. And then as I was shuffling, I got this image of your heart, and it felt as though I was seeing your heart in layers. And what they were describing to me was that it was layers of emotions that you might go through as you feel yourself triggered by people, where you feel old wounds get triggered, but not just in wounds. What I'm being told here is that you will often have to allow yourself to experience one emotion around an event or incident or idea. And as you process that, you can sink into another one and you'll understand it, so that there will be layers of honesty that you get to. Now, the reason that's important, they're saying, is because sometimes you want to plunge right to the core and be able to come out with this wonderful, beautiful, clear statement of truth and love and how it relates to whatever situation it is. But you're not always capable of doing that in the moment. And sometimes that can leave you feeling a little bit out of control with your emotions, because you feel as though it's almost as though, can you trust yourself? Because if you say this, and it feels true, and then it turns to this, and it's not exactly the same thing, where have you gone wrong? Well, you haven't gone anywhere. You haven't gone wrong anywhere. What you're doing is you're learning how to understand the movement from one emotion, which is very personality related, and then as you deepen it, you get really literally into your deeper heart, which they're showing me now visually is that you will move through it and move through it and move through it, and then land in that central place, which of course is where your power is. That's very interesting that this card came up as your first card, because what it's really describing is the difference between the kind of energy we're working with when we're working just with our mind, as compared to when we're working with our higher conscious self, where we're anchored in our deep heart, rather than where we're anchored into the part of our heart that is still really resonating with predominantly the personality, because that's where we tend to be triggered, is in that area, right? So of course the idea is, the more you deal with life strictly from a personality perspective, whether you're realizing it as that or not, if you're dealing with a lot of wounds, you're dealing with a personality aspect. Think of your personality as one part of your consciousness, and that your higher conscious mind is where you are more inclined to resonate with your soul purpose, with your true deep-hearted values, and that is where you experience power, because that is where it's connected to insight, to a bigger picture, to intuition. And it's moving from that sense of fear, which is very much where the ego is typically centered. It's about survival, okay? And now you're moving into the understanding that it's love, and that there is no need for fear, because survival, whether on this plane or another plane, goes on. Now, the interesting thing that here, there was something else that came in it very early on in the beginning. Please let me check in again. So, while I said I was doing a 3-card spread, I just got told to pull another card, so I'm going to... Okay, here we go. So there we go. It's the can't and won't card, which for me is the card that's talking about childhood and very much where your power is. So it's absolutely perfect. Okay. Now, how does it correlate to the information they've just given me? It's telling you that, okay, so on this card, can't and won't is presented as can't is the language of a child and won't is the language of an adult. But what they're saying is, if you feel like you can't communicate your emotions as deeply as you would like, give yourself permission to step back from needing to communicate in that moment and choose to say, I won't right now. Not I can't, but I won't right now. Because you can. But if you're going to move through layers and layers and layers and layers, it's wise to stand back so that you know what you are communicating is as deeply genuine as it can be in the moment. Now listen, it can happen in such a way like this. Somebody cancels a date on you, for example, and you know that their reasoning might be very good, but you're still upset by it because you were really counting on it. So you can say, yeah, that's fine. Yeah, that's fine. And then you push down the sadness or the disappointment, which may resonate with other situations that were difficult for you. So you push it down because you don't want to have to visit any of them. But if you were to say, oh, geez, yeah, I know you've got a lot on your plate. Go ahead for it. I am a little disappointed because I was really looking forward to it. And that being said, I totally get it. I totally get it. Now, what that's done is it's given you permission to access any energetic frequency that's associated with the disappointment of, or, not necessarily that specific thing, but something that energetically carries that quality. Disappointment, being let down, being abandoned, whatever it might be in that moment for you, whatever it brings up. You're being asked to really pay attention and make your statement full. So in other words, you don't have to just truncate it and say, oh, that's fine, because you've got a whole bunch of roiling emotions underneath there and you don't know what they all are. But you can go to the next one you are aware of feeling, and that is disappointment. And you can state it lovingly. You can state it from that center of yourself. This is important, Capricorn. You can state this from the center of yourself, knowing that this is a process of you moving inward, which in itself is a state of higher conscious awareness. Okay? So this is you being able to learn how to navigate your emotions in a way that's genuine, that's kind, that's loving. And what you're being told here is it's really important for you to understand that really being honest with yourself and what you're feeling to the degree that you are capable of. You may not even say to the person, I understand, yeah, I'm disappointed, but you might. That might be really important for them to know, because they may not realize how much you care, or that they may just not know. They may not understand what's going on for you energetically, which might lead to more confusion later on. So while it might be uncomfortable or a little bit difficult, while it, again, you're learning how to state things. But what you're being told is, remember that your power is coming from the center of you. It doesn't mean you ignore the personality or the fears or the emotions that come up. No, they're there. They're part of you. They deserve to be embraced and understood and honored, because they've played a role in forming who you are. So please don't turn your back on them. Remember, you are the one in power in terms of how you want to do this and what you're being encouraged to do. If even only to yourself, be really clear about moving to the next level of emotion when you can, as soon as you comfortably can, instead of just going with the surface, that's okay, or whatever else your standard party line is when something upsets you. Okay? I'm going to leave you with that, Capricorn. I hope this is helpful. I think it's pretty cool. Take care.